And it wouldn't be right if I did not talk about the Catalonia Spain crisis. It's pretty much going down. They are separating from Spain, and Spain is now, we're going with Article 155, declaring it illegal. We're going to arrest the, leader of Catalonia, all this crap. And Wolf Street has an article here. Catalonia's political crisis snowballs into an economic crisis. Independence would be horrific and amount to financial suicide, said Spain's economy minister. But financial suicide for whom? It is not easy being a Catalan bank these days. In the last few weeks, the region's two biggest lenders, CaixaBank and Sabadell, have lost 9 billion euros of deposits as panicked customers in Catalonia have moved their money elsewhere. Many customers in other parts of Spain have also yanked their savings out of Catalan banks, but less out of fear than out of anger at the bank's Catalan roots. Moving their official company address to other parts of Spain last week may have helped ease the resentment, allowing the two banks to recoup some 2 billion euros of deposits. But the move has angered the roughly 2.5 million pro-independent supporters in Catalonia, many of whom have accounts at one of the two banks. Today they expressed that anger by withdrawing cash en masse. Hang on one second. Little parched in the throat area. Many protesters made symbolic withdrawals of 155 euros, Article 155, a reference to Article 155 of the Spanish Constitution, which Madrid activated today being the 21st of October, to impose direct rule over the semi-autonomous region. Others opted for 1,714 euros in a nod to the year 1714, when Barcelona was captured by the troops of King Felipe V, who then proceeded to suppress the rights of rebellious regions. Some bank customers withdrew a lot more than that. The Council of Argentona, a small town outside Barcelona, closed its accounts at CaixaBank and Sabadell and transferred all 2.25 million euros of its funds to a branch of the Dutch lender Triodos. If other institutional or business customers follow our Argentona's example, CaixaBank and Sabadell could have a big problem on their hands. The fallout of political instability in Catalonia is being felt across the whole economy. Real estate investment in the region, both domestic and foreign, is drying up. Starwood European Real Estate Finance, the European subsidiary of the U.S. property giant Starwood Capital, has announced that it's shifting its focus away not only from Catalonia, but Spain as a whole, and toward more stable European markets. It's not just investments that have been put on hold. People are not spending much either. Important consumer purchases have been put on hold until some semblance of stability returns, and people are not going out as much as before. Based on my own observations, the bars are emptier and the streets are quieter. Tourism in Catalonia, Spain's most visited region last year, slumped by 15% in the 2 weeks following the referendum on independence, according to industry experts. Catalonia received about 18 million visitors last year, and tourism accounts for around 12% of the region's GDP, with industry and trade as the other main contributors. Those sectors are feeling the pinch too, partly due to the dark clouds of uncertainty and dread surrounding the region's short-term future, but also as a result of a gathering boycott against Catalan products in other parts of Spain. There is a widespread rejection of Catalan products, and more restaurants and supermarkets are changing the brands they offer, says Bartomeu Severa, the president of a food and beverage trade association in Balearic Islands. It is especially noticeable in the drink sector, but it affects all products that are identified with Catalonia. That's what he said. It's not just Catalan companies that are being hurt. Many Catalan products, including components and raw materials from other parts of Spain. A case in point is the Catalan ready-made pizza company, Tarradellas. Remember that commercial? Berlatoli. He's putting this, highly processed Italian food on the grocery store, frozen, shipped God knows from where, is putting the real restaurants out of business. Oh, no, Berlatoli. It's them again. They're going to kill us, I want wonder if that's their version of it over in Spain. The pizza place. Terribilis! Oh no! Which has been on the sharp end of the boycott for months. The tomato sauce it uses to top its pizzas is provided by Conesa, a tomato processing company in Extremadura, an impoverished region on the border of Portugal in the southwest of Spain. Speaking to the Extremaduran newspaper, known as Hoy Sonesa's managing director, Manuel Vasquez Calleja, warned that, quote, by refusing to buy Catalan products such as those of food company Terradeles, we could be shooting ourselves in the foot, as their pizzas are covered with our tomatoes. Probably the tuna they use comes from Galicia and the flour from Andalusia. This self-defeating pattern is a constant feature of the economic tug-of-war between Madrid and Catalonia, a war that began when Madrid seized full control of the accounts of Catalonia's 298 regional public bodies in the wake of the banned referendum on October 1st. Shortly after that, the Rajoy government passed a law making it much easier for Spanish companies to move their registered address. The move helped spark a mass exodus as over 1,000 Catalan-based businesses, including 6 of the 7 firms listed on Spain's benchmark index, the IBEX 35, opted to move their registered addresses outside Catalonia. The extent to which it was a voluntary move is debatable. Some companies, including Spain's car manufacturer known as SEAT, S-E-I-T, well, that's an original name for a car, SEAT. SEAT, Ubu, SEAT, good dog, have accused the Spanish government and King Felipe VI of pressuring them to leave the region. On Thursday, Spain's economy minister, Luis de Guindos, raised the stakes even further, warning that the independence of Catalonia would, or could, spark a bank run in the region. Independence would be horrific. It would amount to financial suicide, he said. But financial suicide for whom? The web of interdependency between Spain and Catalonia is so tightly woven that if one goes down, the other one goes down with it. Catalonia accounts for 20%, 1/5 of Spain's GDP, and roughly a quarter of Spanish exports and the government's tax revenues. Without it, there's no way the Spanish state would be able to meet its gargantuan financial obligations, not even with Mario Draghi's help. So let's talk about that for a second. You guys remember a little thing I've mentioned about 450 times over the course of my YouTube career, if you will? David Wilkerson prophecy. Lindsey Williams talked about it a few times himself. And in that prophecy, he talks about it's like a Spanish country, maybe it's Mexico. They're going to default to like $100 billion. It's going to cause a chain reaction in the financial system. It's going to hit the euro. The euro is going to go down in 2 weeks, 3 weeks later. It's going to hit America. You know, that guy. Spanish country, Mexico, he thought. How about this in Spain right now? Could this be the trigger? Could this be what he saw coming? Maybe. Just want to put that fresh in your memory, though. And if you want to read about it, it's just search for, on Google, David Wilkerson Mexico prophecy or Euro prophecy, and you should be able to find it. This point, despite being glaringly obvious, rarely gets a mention in the Spanish press. It's one of the reasons why so many Spanish people seem to think that Catalonia's economy can be severely weakened without there being serious repercussions for the rest of the country. Some even see it as a zero-sum game. What's bad for Catalonia's economy must be good for Spain's. Another dangerous myth is the absurd notion that Catalonia's independence movement can be snuffed out with just the right amount of political repression and cultural cleansing. A region where roughly half of the population wants greater autonomy is about to have what little autonomy it still has snatched away from it. By activating Article 155 today to revoke Catalan autonomy, Madrid has set itself on a risk-strewn path whose financial destination is far from clear. What is clear is that from this point on, Madrid will have full control of the main organs of institutional power in Catalonia, including the region's police force, the Mossos de Esquadra, or Esquadra. The finance ministry will maintain complete oversight of every cent that is spent or raised by the regional government, at least until new elections are held. It will also take over Catalonia's public television and radio broadcasters to ensure they are more neutral. See, you must seize the news networks. And you may not know this, I'm sure most of my subscribers do, in case there's a few of you that don't. Our news networks have been seized a long time ago. CNN? Yeah. MSNBC? Yeah, that's correct. You just don't know it, doesn't act like it. They're seized, and the government essentially controls them. Or, in this case, the deep state, because they don't really like Donald Trump too much, but the government around him, they love, because they're part of it. Madrid has announced plans to call regional elections within 6 months. Hardline elements within the governing People's Party have proposed banning all pro-independence parties from taking part, but that may be a step too far, even for Rajoy's government, which has still not clarified whether it plans to have Catalonia's president, Carles Puigdemont, and other elected leaders arrested. Naturally, these measures, which are more fitting of a capricious tin pot dictatorship than a modern, self-respecting democracy, will do nothing to improve relations between Catalonia and the rest of Spain. Moody's warned this week that activating Article 155 may ensure that Catalonia remains a part of Spain in the short term, but over the long haul, it will make it even more difficult to resolve the conflict. If anything, the repression is more likely to strengthen rather than weaken the resolve of Catalonia's independence movement, as 29 Nobel laureates wrote in a letter urging the Spanish government and the EU for dialogue and mediation in the conflict. A people that feels repressed rarely goes quietly into the night. So yeah, again, Moody's is warning. Right. So when you hear the ratings agencies like Moody's talk about anything like this, what comes next? Or what are they going to potentially wait for in the future? Well, that would be, we're going to have to downgrade you. Spain, we love you, but we're going to downgrade you. Because this thing isn't resolved. It was a cash cow for you guys. It's not producing now. We don't see how you can pay your debt. We're going to have to downgrade you. And if they downgrade them, the debt that Spain has now becomes immensely more, well, put it this way, interest rates on everything they owe go higher. When they have to borrow money, which all governments do, the interest rates are higher. Which means what? Tax time, raise taxes, ain't going to go out real well. So that the pre-existing debt, it's going to be more expensive to service. I'm starting to think David Wilkerson here, but maybe not. Maybe the EU will step in and just, I mean, they're already doing it now, QE to infinity. Just add a little extra for Spain. How much you need? 20% more than you had before because they're going? Okay, we'll just bail you out to the tune of 20% more. No big deal. We got you. We got you covered, baby. Take care.